there, Heather Boyd Wire here. Excuse the wet hair today. We're on our way to Ottawa to see my family, and today we're doing a very special project. I made this very, very beautiful God's Eye necklace. Now, I made a necklace like this many years ago, and then I remembered the other night I was out with my friend Allison, and she was wearing one that I had made for her. So it inspired me to make this video. What we're going to need for the project are our tools. We're going to need a range of wire, so I have 24 to 22 gauge for the wrapping, and the base is made with about a 18 to 16 gauge wire. And then you need one middle bead that's going to fit on that larger wire, and then a few little beads to go on the edges and some smaller seed beads to fill out the outline. So getting started is a little bit tricky. We're going to put the central bead on the wire like this, and then what we want to do is actually take this wire and bring it around to the back, but you'll have to curve it around a little bit. So what you can do to help that out is actually get your round pliers, the bigger round pliers, and do kind of a half little circle like that. And then we want to make sure it's going to fit around that bead. You can wind it out a little bit. You can even wind it around a marker if you need. And then we're just going to do a little U type of thing here. And that just gives some space for the bead. So that's going to depend on how big your bead is. And then you're going to slide it around behind like this. And then the idea is that you want this to be at the same level as that one there. Then we're actually going to get our thinner wire and wrap it around. So I'm going to keep the wire on the roll because I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. And then what you're going to do is just start wrapping. So we'll just wrap it around once like that. Okay, and that's above the bead. And then this part is quite tricky. You want to place that in there and just try to keep it centered, and then pull this one around like this. And you're going to find as you go around it's going to get easier, but for sure the first little bit is really tricky. And if it was possible to buy a bead that had holes going in both directions, that would be awesome. And they might exist, I'm not sure, but because I don't have a bead like this, I'm just winging it with what I have. So we're just going around, and then as you go, you can adjust it a little bit more. So really, it's just the first part that's tricky. And I'm not sure how much wire I'm going to need. It's getting a little tangled. So what I might do is actually cut some off the wire. And even if you run out of wire, it's not a big deal because you can always add another piece. So we're just going to work our way around. And then as you need, you can adjust that back thing so it's really just going to the back. And we're just going to, this is very similar to a design I have for a spider web, where I have, instead of 2 pieces of wire, I have 3 pieces, and they make like a spider web. And it's also a similar kind of setup for a snowflake design that I have with beads for the snowflakes. So you see, as you go, it gets a lot easier, and then we're just going to keep going around and around. So however much you want, this is going to depend on how big you want your pendant, because if you don't want it too big, you're not going to use too much wire. So that's just going to really depend. So what I would suggest you do is just keep going around. It seems like I'm going around about 4 or 5 times, and then where you started, just bring it around, and then you're going to clip that off. So I actually didn't really use that much wire, as you can tell. And then this beginning piece that you wound around to, you're going to cut that off as well. Okay. And then, so now you have your nice start to the God's Eye, and at that point you can add another wires. So I think I'm going to do, I have a darker blue here, so I'm going to do the same thing. This wire is a little thicker. It seems to be about a 22 gauge. The previous one was 24 gauge. I'm not going to cut as much for that because 1, it's a thicker wire, and 2, it doesn't really have to be the same. So just let's find out where we ended off. And same thing. So we're just going to, I'm winding it from the back. So I'm going to stay consistent with having it wound around from the back. And we're just going to go around. And so now maybe this time, instead of going around 5 times, I might just do 3. And then you also want to clip that edge off, the beginning one. So we've gone around 3 times. I'm going to clip it off. And then I'm going to go with the silver and go put it around 3 times. And this one is actually measured in millimeters. This one is a 0.8 millimeter wire, which is about the same, about a 22 gauge wire. So I do have conversion charts to tell you how to convert the gauges of wire. And I actually offer a full wire art and jewelry making course where I have all kinds of resources for where to buy materials, wire gauges, and unique tools that I don't always show in my videos. So if you're interested in the wire art course, I'll link it up below as well. So actually I don't want this pendant to be too big, so I'm just going to put the silver wire around twice. And then I have one more color that I want to do. So at that point I'm going to add my last color, which is a light blue. So I just added my last color, which is a light blue color, and on the very last row I'm actually going to fill it up with these teeny little seed beads. So it's going to give a nice little border to the pendant. So when you add the beads, I put about 14 here. It's going to depend how big your beads are. So you just add them on, and then every time you do one side, you have to twist it around like that, and then you add more beads and twist it there. So now that you've done your last little edge of beads, we're just going to pull that wire around, pull it quite tightly, but don't distort the base. And then we're going to clip off that last edge. Now to make it a little fancy, you can put a bead on each edge like that. So I have like a little metallic bead. So we're going to stick that on and then cut this to about 3/8 of an inch and take your round pliers and just do a little loop. And that's just going to hold that bead in place. So we'll do that on each edge. So here's the finished pendant. It's absolutely beautiful. So we're going to get a little jump ring and put it at the top like that. And then just quickly I'll show you how to attach it to a necklace cord. I have a waxed cotton cord here. You can use a leather cord if you like. And then what I usually do is, so it won't slide around on the cord, I just put a couple of springs here in place, and it just means that it won't. You could even put some beads on the cord if you like, but to keep it simple, I'll just do this. And then I just give it a little pinch on either side so it won't come out of place. So there, it's good. Yeah, so that will hold in place with the springs. And then what we're going to do is just put one of these springs with the loop on one end. Okay, and I do also have a video on how to make an adjustable cord, which is really pretty clever with these springs. So I'll link that one up below too. So if you want to make a cord that's adjustable, you can do that. So we've got that side, and then this side. I'm just using my regular flat pliers. Sometimes with these springs, it's easier to pinch them if you have pliers with like little not serrated edges, but the little bumpy edges, because it can grip it a little better, but I'm just using my regular pliers. And then just simply put a little hook on there. You can use any kind of clasp. And there you have your beautiful God's Eye necklace. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you like it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more DIY wire art and jewelry videos. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live and when I post new videos. Let me know if you make one of these God's Eye necklaces. You can share photos on Instagram and @me at Heather Boyd Wire. And be sure to join my Wire Art and Jewelry Makers Club on Facebook, where we share pictures of our work and inspire each other for wire art and jewelry projects. I will link that group up below, and we'll see you the next time.